Get 'em, losers. We gotta go save our pinks. Hello, what is up, witches? It is your girl, TShayMae. It is also your favorite chaotic YouTube witch, Hero Henrietta. And it is your favorite cup of tea. And we are here for another episode of Film Bwitch certified by Film Degree. As you can see, my film degree all the way up there. And this is also going to serve as a get ready with me, because I definitely want to talk about a show that, though it's not spiritual or witch related or in any type of means, I want to talk about the show because I am so fucking passionate about this show, and I've grown to love it so much. And it does not only vex me the fact that the show itself had been canceled, it also vexed me the show has been removed from the very platform that it was streaming on. If you already heard the news, you already know that I'm talking about Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies, which was a prequel to the events of Grease 4 years prior to the events where we meet the characters in the iconic film. I am just gonna speak from my heart and just speak my thoughts upon this news. Actors, cast, and crew got together for the Save Our Pinks campaign, which is basically a campaign of the cast and crew of Rise of the Pink Ladies to basically try to connect with other streaming networks and platforms for them to put the show back on. I definitely have high hopes that this is going to work, because not that they did this for Generation, but like Generation is now fully on Tubi, and it sucks because why are platforms like Max or HBO Max, Paramount Plus, apparently Netflix, have been like removing their original work off of their platform that it was created for. That shit just don't make any sense. But there's quite a few things I understand from it from a filmmaker standpoint. It's just still very vexing as like a fan of these programs and someone that has grown to love them. And so yeah, but before we get started, I also do want to share, go ahead, follow me on social media, all in the links down below. There is a new episode of Tea Time with TShayMae. However, it is going to be the unfortunate and unbeknownst last episode until further notice. I am currently on a hiatus for a lot of reasons, a lot of things, and honestly, if you want to continue to help supporting a campaign, help my campaign to helping me move up north. And that is just to help me with my expenses for moving up north, but also for my conservatory program that I'm also going to be attending. Okay, that I hope to be attending, that I will be attending. I am attending, as the manifestors would say. You're already there. I know I'm there, but I could use some help to get there, okay? Real quick. As I get my Glossier bag, this is not sponsored. The reason I'm doing this is because Marissa DeVilla, who played Jane in Rise of the Pink Ladies, basically did a get ready with me, basically kind of explaining the whole situation as to why the show got, you know, booted, and kind of the unbeknownst of like, you know, the reaction of like, it was not surprising that it got canceled, but it's more upsetting that it basically is now being removed out of existence, which is upsetting because the show itself had not really got to live fully on the Paramount Plus platform for even a month. It only just had its like series, but now, you know, season finale like for 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm also going to be talking about the products I'm using. Okay, yes, let me do the thing real quick. Is it going to do the thing? I don't know. This is just e.l.f. illuminating face primer. You know, it's going to make my face look a bit shiny and whatnot. You know, it very much was just kind of like, you know, there's already an acceptance that like Paramount Plus made their decision, you know, for whatever tax incentive or tax or whatever reduction they're trying to get type shit. And I could go more about that because I live in Georgia, and obviously a lot of film and TV shows have been filming here for years because of that tax incentive, but I do not really know much about that myself, even though yes, I have been in the industry. I literally got my degree in the industry. But, you know, it's a lot of things that, like, I get it, like, studios are just trying to, like, save money or whatever and stuff and everything, but it doesn't mean that, like, you abandon the work that you very much done a shit ton of marketing for and whatnot. It just, it don't make no sense, ma. It don't make no sense, man. It don't. So I basically am coming on here, one, to give a bit of insight on that as far as like what I can guesstimate, because once again, I do not work for the show. I am, you know, not in any way relation to Paramount Plus or Rise of the Pink Ladies, but once again, I can just give that perspective as someone who is in the industry, that has connections in the industry, not connections to, you know, get the show running, but at least enough to kind of be like, you know, at least a bit of like an understanding, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to share pretty much my experience with this show and kind of, you know what, I definitely enjoyed about it. When the casting call for the show came out, I don't remember, it was probably, honestly, it was probably 2020. What I remember it came out, and you know, kind of like everyone else, my initial thought was like, okay, like it's another fucking reboot, sequel, prequel to a fucking franchise that, yes, no one asked for. Like, I can't cap. I love them down now, but you know, I know that's what people's initial thoughts, but you know, also as an actress, it was kind of like, hey, if I can get paid, if I get cast and I get paid for this shit, I'll be set for life. You know, I bet John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, all of them are pretty set for life for Grease, you know, and stuff and everything. I would hope so. I hope they are set for life for Grease the same way that the motherfuckers from Friends are. And so, you know, with that being said, like, a friend of mine, like, sent me the thing. You know, I submitted to audition for the show. For what I remember from the initial casting, it was like a scene and a song. But for obvious reasons, I was not casted. Honestly, one, I was not a strong singer back then. And even now, maybe 2 years after the fact, I probably still am working on it. Like, yeah, she's a dancer. Yeah, she's an actress. But a singer? Baby, I'm still working my way there, okay? I wasn't really expecting much in regards of like the casting situation, to be quite honest with you. I very much was just kind of like, it's one of those general casting calls, I'm not really gonna get anything from it, right? We're using this Glossier stretch concealer, if you could say that, and then we're using the matching drip foundation in the same color. I don't know if you all see this shit, and if y'all do, great. If y'all don't, whatever. When I started seeing like the ads for it on Instagram and stuff and everything, because granted, that's kind of how a lot of new shows have been advertising these days, is firstly like just on social media. So when I saw the announcement of the cast, once again, I didn't really think much of it and stuff and everything. You know, it was just one of those things where you couldn't only be proud of, you know, the progression of a show like that. As an actor, you can only be like, I'm glad these people are getting work. Like, I'm glad these people are getting work. Then in April of this year, I was actually in New York when my friend that I was staying with, she goes to Colombia, and she basically got like free tickets for us to go see the premiere of the show, this first episode, at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Center, aka the Robin Williams Center. Me, rest in peace. And basically, you know, go see the show and, you know, get to watch like the main 4 actors get interviewed for it afterwards. Once again, went to go see it, didn't think much of it, you know, just thought about it like, oh, okay, like, I'm just gonna go see this shit that, like, I know I auditioned for it, but obviously I did not get casted in, you know, like, I'm just here to have a good time. And when I tell you that, like, probably by the time the opening number for Grease's Word happened, like, I fell in love with the show. Like, I was so like, oh my god. And she's a musical girly. Like, I'm literally going to a conservatory that is purely based on musical theater. So I was just like, oh, like, I'm sold. I loved, you know, the storyline. I loved the fact that we really are introduced to Frenchie because the main character, Jane, is literally her big sister. So she literally is obviously gonna be like the pioneer of the Pink Ladies itself. And I am always down for a musical television show. Y'all, let me send y'all recommendations. Go watch Central Park on fucking Apple TV. Watch Up Here on Hulu. If you're a fan of The Flash, if you're a fan of The Dove, Carlos from The Flash, Homegirl from The Dove, they're in it and they're amazing. And I this has been the year for a lot of musical television, and I've been sold. I've been sold. Like, y'all had Glee. All this is my Glee. Okay, I would never watch Glee in my life just because of like the thing about it, and I'm just like, I don't think I want to put myself into low vibrational television like that. That's why I have stuck with Riverdale for so long. But like these shows have been like, oh, y'all are eating, y'all are serving, y'all are giving me everything. And once again, like the same way that y'all probably were fiending on a Glee is the same way that I am fiending for these shows. Now, I know a lot of people were probably like, why is this such a woke version of like Grease or whatever? No, we have to kind of understand, and I would say because Riverdale has been doing the same thing where they, where we are now back into the 1950s. We have to realize and understand where people used to idolize this particular decade and era of the 20th century, only idolize it for the fact that, like, yeah, technology wasn't as advanced and, taking over our lives like it is now. And I get that. I despite my shirt saying Sagittarius as an Aquarius, with Sagittarius rising placements, I get that. I understand. I concur. However, in those periods, there were still issues like racism, classism, homophobia, fat phobia, a lot of things against disabilities, like during those times, right? So you can't necessarily say that, oh, they're going so woke. No, there's a reason why Lovecraft Country itself, like, it's the 1950s and it's centered around the black people in that era, because they still have to deal with race. It was fucking Jim Crow era, my goodness. Girl, please go somewhere. Anyway, so I can't say there's nothing woke about Pink Ladies. Now, the direction they took it was the best direction, because it really comes with like, yeah, everyone wants to think about Grease is so fun and just so carefree. When it comes to people in these minority and marginalized groups, that it's not always going to be fun for them. And the show does a good job of really portraying that, because, girl, you think Olivia, you think Hazel, you think Cynthia would have gotten by? No. Nancy? So I love the fact that, like, oh wow, like Jane and Frenchie are literally Italian Puerto Ricans, because we don't question that. Literally watch Grease and try to see if you can find black people in the fucking movie. There's fucking 2 black extras, and you can't tell me like, oh, are these white boys or Italians? Honestly, they're Italians, okay? Say what you want, but they spicy whites over there. Rizzo's a spicy white. Literally, like, I was already in love with the show pretty much, when it, like, pretty much when we were watching it. And it was just so interesting because, once again, we were watching it in a theater. So I was watching it in a big screen, probably on the 3rd row. And I think really getting to see and watch the interview of the actors as well, of Trisha, of Ari, of Marissa, of Cheyenne. It was, one of those things where it's like, me and these actors come from similar backgrounds, and they obviously got to make it and got to break through into these roles. Like, literally, like, look at their fucking shit. Marissa has been working in Hollywood forever. That bitch has been practically everything. That bitch was in Live with Maddie. Cheyenne is a former Disneyland. She's a former Disneyland character performer. She was best friends with Pocahontas, I saw, among other things. And it's just like, oh, these girls, these femmes, they got it. They got it for real. Trisha cosplay. Ari is just an angel. God said, and I'm just like, girl. Like, I'm not, you know, I know they're non-binary, so when I'm saying girl, I'm saying it more as an onomatopoeia. I'm not saying it literally, but girl, there's a reason why Crushing Me is as popular, because yes, bitch, you done crushed me. You crushed my soul. You crushed some vocals. Like, Crushing Me is the song of the summer. Mark my fucking words. If you don't believe Crushing Me is the song of the summer, you are in fucking denial. You're in denial. You're in denial. And the Nile is a fucking river in Egypt, alright? So yeah, pretty much after that, I very much just like got completely invested in the show. And when I got home, I tuned the fuck in. I was invested and I was just here for it. Basically, when I finally decided to like follow the tags and, you know, be a part of like the community, like literally, like there's a Discord that I'm gonna leave a description in the bio to join and stuff and everything. So like I was like literally one of the first few members of that Discord. Now trust me, I don't say shit. Like I'm just there to be a part of the shit and stuff and everything, even though I personally don't say shit. I'm not a moderator on it, but it's to say that nonetheless, so like, hey, I'm a big fan of this work, and I just want to, and I would like to, you know, continue to be around, you know, folks who also are. Let's talk about the actors. The actors, perfectly cast. Ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no tea about it. They all were just so perfectly casted for the roles, you know, hence why I am not in that shit and whatnot. And you know, it's just so amazing. Like, they're so talented. They're all very, very genuinely sweet people and whatnot. And they really, really lived in those characters. And you can definitely tell. And I love the direction they took with a lot of them and stuff and everything. And as much as I would like to go in depth with, like, each character, all I can really say is that they did a good job. Casting director, whoever you be, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. Music direction, choreography, beautiful. Like, once again, it's so innovative because, like, once again, like, there has been such a resurgence of a lot of TV musical programming. So I cannot tell you that this shit would have probably flew like 10 years ago. Like, I'm thinking like the equivalent to this is Smash. Like, not that I've seen Smash, but it's like one of those things where it's just like, but nah, they are really like doing the thing about it, and it looks so innovating in a lot of ways. And the creative direction, like, I'm thinking about like I Want More, and just that entire, like, I Want More, the bomb, like, it's one of those like entire, it, like, even Grease is a word, like choreography sequence, the whole choreography and camera sequences and just everything about it, like, it takes you in. And bitch, I was hooked. I was convinced. They literally got me. They got me there, girl. They got me there. And like, I, like, even when I was watching like some folks TikTok, like, there's a reason why some folks like really were like, I was not expecting to enjoy this show like I did, but they do. And some people even expressed it like, yeah, I watched this with my grandparent and they've enjoyed it. And once again, because Grease is such a generational, like, film, it's a film from generations, it's a musical from generations that everyone and their mama knows about. Everyone comes out knowing about it out the wazoo. Everyone just like knows about Grease. Like, Grease is the word after all, baby. Talking about Take 5? No, they said change lives. Honestly, the soundtrack has been on repeat. Honestly, my favorite song obviously is Crushing Me. I Want More is definitely one. Oh my god, sorry to distract. Cheyenne. I want vocals like Cheyenne. I want vocals like Cheyenne and Chanel. It's giving, like, Cheyenne is giving, like, Jessica Rabbit, if needed be. But also, like, Chanel is giving, like, soft girl who probably, like, sings, like, the soft stuff at the church choir, but then kill it with a bell each time. When the show ended, obviously a girly was vexed. A girly was just like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna live. And a bitch still has Riverdale, so she's kind of fine. My friend texted me the news about them, like, canceling. Now, homie said, sorry about, you know, Rise of the Pink Ladies. And I was like, oh my god, they got canceled. But nah, it was worse than that. They got fucking or getting removed. I can't really tell you, like, how I felt at that moment. It really was just kind of like, what the fuck? And so, once again, from the filmmaker standpoint, knowing that they were literally practically just getting removed from existence was just like, but why though? But why? And listen, because once again, there's a lot of things. Yes, we are on strike. The writers have been on strike for literally 2 months at this point because, like, they're not getting revenue payment from these streaming services like they would have from cable television. And even so, the last strike happened, what, about 15 or over 15 years ago, because same thing. There is no movie, there is no show, there is literally nothing without our writers. And granted, my friend that texted me the news about the Pink Ladies is a writer. In the midst of the strike, I was hoping that the Pink Ladies would, you know, still make it out alive. And once again, it's not surprising of the cancellation, but it's more so disappointing because, once again, it's being removed from existence. And it's being removed, like, we're not seeing our thespians. We're not seeing our first black pink lady. Bitch, I've been dressing up as a pink lady for Halloween for the past, like, 5 years. I was a pink lady for Halloween when literally I had class. When my last Halloween as a student at my alma mater, I dressed up as a pink lady for teaching dance classes. Literally this last year's Halloween, I literally dressed up as a pink lady at MomoCon here in ATL. With all that in the middle of fucking Pride Month. Homophobic as fuck. Clearly in my position, I kind of, like, did not know what could I do about it. For me, it was just like, oh, I'm sad my show was ending, but you know, of course I went online. Of course I went to go see, like, the general reaction. And everybody felt the same way. It was just like, what the fuck, Paramount? What the fuck? You know? And it's upsetting because, like, I bet your ass, and somebody can probably check it for me, that Paramount Plus probably still got Grease the movie itself on there, but not Rise of the Pink Ladies. The very show they created because of the popularity of that film in itself. Girly, what? Oh baby, what is you doing? You know, like Marissa said, Paramount already made a decision. So there is nothing that we can do to try to convince them otherwise. But that's why the campaign exists. That's why, you know, folks that brought back shows like, what is this, like One Day at a Time. People that brought back, talk about, like, Warrior Nun is had the same fate, and now Warrior Nun at this time that I'm recording is coming back and stuff and everything. Because it really comes with the justice of the fans. It really comes with the support of the fans. It really comes with the love of the fans. Because, listen, it's not to say that, like, I myself was, you know, ashamed of this loving the show. No. I was not ashamed to love this show, and I was not ashamed or only, like, now being very expressive about the show, you know, until, like, you know, it started getting popularity because of Crushing Me. No, I love this show because in some ways I definitely felt a part of the show. I definitely got to experience this show in a way that I never would have thought to experience. And it really has, you know, set an attachment in me, and that I appreciate, one, as an artist, two, as a fan. And three, just like, you know, as someone that's like, girl, I'm a pink lady at heart, honey. Listen, I too probably was a pink lady in my last time. I'm not saying that I'm fucking Hazel, bitch. Alright? But, you know, I must have been Hazel's cousin or something, because if that bitch loves the stars and I'm a witch who does astrology, or at least knows and understands the concept of astrology, then bitch. So fucking be it. Literally, what all we can do right now, and all you can do right now as you're somebody that is watching and that has been listening, is continue to help our pinks, continue to save our pinks. So sign a petition on the link of Marissa's bio. You can also sign it down below. The link is also included in the description. If you're like me and taking an extra mile, you know, like, yeah, make videos, share what the show meant to you, and share that this show needs to be saved. This is one of the good ones in this day and age where, yeah, everything is getting reboot and everything is getting a fucking prequel and everything, whatever. Like, girl, I get it. I get it. It is annoying. But it's shit like this that has so much love, so much care, so much support, that it actually works. It actually works. And they done such a tremendous job in it. Just because we have a Italian, Puerto Rican, Mexican, an Asian, young butch femme being the leaders and pioneers of the Pink Ladies doesn't mean the fucking, like, they're trying to make Greece woke. No, bitch. Greece is all, no, bitch. No. No. Those people existed back then. They are giving them a place. People who did not have a place in the society, being a soch, being whatever. Girl, there is a reason for that, okay? So literally, stay mad, stay vexed. They didn't ruin your fucking shit. If you have grandparents literally watching this show with their grandkids, they didn't ruin anything. Alright? But seriously, please continue to support this cause. Give this show a home. I'm pretty sure this was like also streaming at Disney Plus and other networks at some point. Or I might be jiving, but still. Like, this needs a home. And if you want my honest opinion, I feel like either Apple TV, because you're Central Park, because of Schmigadoon especially, they're like, I feel like a program like Apple TV that already has programming that is musical theater television, and how well, like, those shows have been going, like, girl, if you ain't seen season 2 of Schmigadoon, I highly suggest that. Literally, like, I say Hulu or Apple TV is the best bet for the show to live on, just because of the fact they do have shows like this. Like I said, up here, Central Park, Schmigadoon, like, they already have programming, and I bet there's a lot more. But no, seriously, it's very much just like, this show deserves to live on. This show deserves its flowers, and this show deserves a chance. It deserves a second chance. And in Paramount Plus, and we know damn well Max is not going to do shit about it, then I know these other networks will. So, I advise y'all, to literally sign a petition, share your thoughts either with a post, whether it's something like mine or something to a lesser degree where, you know, you're just making, you know, whatever and stuff and everything, and save our fucking pinks. Come on now. Like, get in, losers. Get in! Get in, losers. We gotta go help our pink ladies in need, alright? Get in. Yeah, I really do adore this show. I love, once again, there's so many things and themes in this show that it plays with and does in a way that a lot of shows and obviously a lot of young adult and teen media don't really get to do. Like, bitch, tell me, why do we have, spoiler alert, bitch, tell me, why is Miss Grundy back at Riverdale? Why? Girl, why? I'm shook. I'm a bit scared for Archibald. I'm scared, Archie kids. I'm scarred. I'm uncomfy. This show is actually doing a good job of addressing those issues that were so relevant in those times that a lot of these shows, even the programming back in those days itself, would not and could not do. They would not allow the whole conversation of pregnancy or even the word pregnancy be a thing. Literally, they're like the whole I Love Lucy's whole thing where like, yeah, she's fucking pregnant. That was a big thing back in the day. You know, apparently there's a whole other thing where the Dick Van Dyke show like had like was like the first show to show black neighbors. Like a black couple being black neighbors in the same fucking, you know, it's like one of those things, like, you have to admit, like, they're upholding a lot of these issues and a lot of these like Hays Codes bullshit that really, you know, was trying to program to make us think that groups that were marginalized and minority were less than. They could not equate to the privileged white society, white supremacy. But literally, Greece is like, nah, like, these people existed back then. These people were to get to where they were back then, and even then they were still treated like shit. The entire reason for the Pink Ladies in the first place is because a group of outcast femmes, young femmes, literally, who did not have a place or felt like they didn't have a place in their school, in the society that their school is obviously based off on, were able to prevail and do it together and support each other. You know? Those were very trying and traumatizing times, and you can call it a trauma bond, but you also have to admit that it's like, nah, it's what they had and what they could do. Sometimes all they could do. But thank God Olivia didn't do that, okay? Like, this show deserves to be able to be as iconic as its predecessor. And if Paramount, who literally was a studio, if I'm not mistaken, that produced and distributed and was a part of Greece the 5 fucking past decades that film has been in our media, then hopefully another network is willing to give the show another 5 years. 5 seasons to the point where, yeah, we get to the point where we see Rizzo and Frenchie become Pink Ladies themselves. We get and we finish right before the introduction of Sandy. Keep streaming the music, keep sharing, and having people sign the petition, and call these, like, let's get on these networks' door. Let's get on their doors, let's break them down, and let's hold them hostage and get them to fucking pick the show fucking back up. Which is something Nancy would say. So thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know how well this video is gonna do, but, you know, please share it with the cast and crew of Rise of the Pink Ladies. I love you guys so fucking much. Yes, a bitch edition for the show, so if y'all want to give me a job, I would be appreciative of that. Please like and subscribe for more spiritual content, but like I said, this was not something spiritual, but this is something that I very much was like very passionate about, that I wanted to talk about, because I do love this show and the show does mean a lot to me, and I just hope that the show does get to continue to live on, because there's so much more with these characters and the story that, yes, they got their happy endings as far as we know with a cliffhanger. We deserve to continue to see these characters thrive. As Buddy and as Danny Zuko said, this is only the beginning, and baby, we are in for a ride. Alright, thank you guys so much, and I'll see y'all next time on Dragon Ball Spirituality. Da 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 da. Grease is the word. You smiling, you on too much. We could knees. You gotta crush. It's crushing me. It's crushing me on crush. What the what? It's just too much. It's crushing me. It's crushing me.